The vastness of space was punctuated by the shimmering lights of Commander Warlock's fleet. A formidable armada of warships, each vessel bristling with weaponry and exuding an aura of invincibility. Warlock, a seasoned and ruthless commander, surveyed the human colony on the planet below with a predatory gleam in his eyes. "This is almost too easy," Warlock muttered to himself, his clawed hand tapping rhythmically on the armrest of his command chair. The planet's defenses appeared laughably weak, with only a handful of anti-ship missiles and a few scattered ships positioned behind moons and debris. As the fleet approached the colony, a single pleasure yacht emerged from the planet's atmosphere, gliding gracefully towards them. Warlock raised an eyebrow in mild curiosity. A pleasure yacht? Are they surrendering already? The yacht docked with Warlock's flagship, and a transmission crackled to life. The image of a man appeared on the screen, dressed in elegant attire that seemed out of place in this theater of war. "Greetings, Commander Warlock. I am Ambassador Mateo Johnson. I come to negotiate on behalf of my people." Warlock sneered. "Negotiate? You think you can buy your way out of this, Ambassador?" Johnson smiled, a calm and collected expression on his face. "Perhaps. We have rare metals, rich foods, and other valuable resources. Surely, we can come to an arrangement that benefits us both." While Johnson prattled on, Warlock's attention was divided. He listened to the ambassador's offers with one ear while his other senses were attuned to the reports coming in from his fleet. The positioning of the human ships was odd, too far apart, too spread out, and seemingly inadequate to mount any serious defense. "Ambassador, your offers are generous, but they only confirm my desire to take your world by force," Warlock replied, his voice dripping with disdain. Johnson's expression remained unchanged, though there was a hint of desperation in his eyes. "Please, Commander, I beg you. Don't make me do this." Warlock chuckled, his laughter a harsh sound in the sterile environment of the command deck. "Don't make you do what, Ambassador? Do you plan to play one of your little games to stop me?" As a young kid, Warlock had spent time as an assistant to a human general, observing their culture and habits. He had come to see humans as weak and soft, bound by rules and obsessed with games. They played games with cards, discs, and dice, and their favorite involved little men in white and black. It had reinforced his belief that humans were traders and readers, not warriors. "Very well, Ambassador. Continue your negotiations while we prepare to bombard your pitiful defenses," Warlock said, waving his hand dismissively. Johnson's eyes flickered with an emotion Warlock couldn't quite place. "You leave me no choice," he murmured. Warlock's fleet moved into position, the massive ships casting ominous shadows on the planet below. The command deck buzzed with activity as officers relayed orders and prepared for the assault. "All ships, commence bombardment," Warlock commanded, his voice echoing through the ship. The fleet's weapon systems roared to life, unleashing a barrage of energy beams and missiles towards the planet's surface. Explosions rocked the colony as the meager defenses crumbled under the onslaught. "Commander, we are detecting an energy spike from a distant human vessel," an officer reported. Warlock's eyes narrowed as he studied the readings. "An ion cannon? At that distance? Move the fleet out of its path. This is hardly worth our concern." The fleet adjusted its position, and the ion cannon's blast passed harmlessly through the empty space where Warlock's ships had been. Warlock laughed, a harsh, grating sound. "Is that it? One cannon, so far away that we can casually move out of its path?" As the bombardment continued, another energy spike was detected, this time from behind a moon. A second ion cannon fired, and this time, the fleet was caught in its line of fire. "Shields up!" Warlock bellowed, but the blast had already struck, causing significant damage to several ships. "Commander, we are under attack from multiple vectors," another officer reported. "Anti-ship missiles incoming." Warlock's confidence wavered as he realized the scattered human ships were part of a coordinated and strategic defense. The first wave of missiles impacted the fleet, causing explosions and sending debris spiraling into space. "All ships, full assault on the planet," Warlock ordered, his voice tinged with desperation. "We will crush their resistance and make an example of this colony." The fleet surged forward, weapons blazing, but the humans were ready. Small ships darted in and out of the larger vessels firing arcs, using unconventional tactics to avoid destruction. They hid in the contrails of missiles, planting mines on the fleet's underbellies and causing chaos among Warlock's ranks. The battle intensified as the humans' clever tactics began to take their toll on Warlock's fleet. Despite the superior firepower of his ships, Warlock found himself outmaneuvered at every turn. "Commander, our rear ships are being targeted by the ion cannons," an officer reported. "They are moving to flank us. Bring us about. Concentrate fire on those ion cannon ships." Warlock commanded, his frustration growing. The fleet attempted to regroup, but the human small ships continued to wreak havoc. They jumped from vessel to vessel at odd angles, avoiding the fleet's countermeasures and dropping mines that detonated with devastating effect. "How are they doing this?" Warlock growled, his eyes darting across the tactical display. "They are nothing but weak traders and game players." Amid the chaos, Warlock noticed that Ambassador Mateo Johnson's yacht remained close to his flagship, untouched by the battle raging around them. Johnson's calm demeanor contrasted sharply with the pandemonium on Warlock's command deck. "Commander, their anti-ship missiles are breaching our forward shields," an officer warned. "We are losing ships rapidly." Warlock's fury reached its peak. "Destroy them all. Show no mercy." The fleet's assault on the planet intensified, but the humans' defenses held strong. Their ion cannons continued to fire, tearing through Warlock's ships with precision. Despite his best efforts, Warlock's fleet was systematically dismantled by the human defenders. As the last of his ships exploded in a fiery blaze, Warlock stood in the ruins of his command deck, his rage giving way to a cold, bitter realization. He had underestimated the humans, and now his once mighty fleet lay in ruins. Ambassador Mateo Johnson approached, his face pale and streaked with tears. "I begged you," he said, his voice cracking with emotion. "I pleaded with you not to make me do this. You could have avoided this if you had just left. Why? Why did you make me do this?" Warlock turned to Johnson, his eyes filled with a mix of fury and confusion. You planned this? How could you, a mere ambassador, outsmart an entire fleet?" Johnson held up a small device, his hand shaking. "We humans, we think in unknowns. We plan for uncertainty. Our games, as you call them, teach us to think strategically, to anticipate every move. You saw weakness where there was strength." Warlock's eyes widened as the realization struck him. Your games are weapons." Johnson nodded, tears streaming down his face. "Yes, Commander. They are. And now, I must finish this." Warlock moved to kill Johnson, his claws ready to strike, but he stopped when he saw the grenade in the ambassador's hand. For a moment, the two enemies locked eyes, and Warlock saw the depth of Johnson's anguish and determination. In that moment, Warlock understood the true strength of the humans. They were not weak traders and game players, they were strategists, thinkers, and warriors who used their intellect to overcome their foes. In the aftermath of the battle, Warlock found himself a prisoner on the human colony. His once mighty fleet was gone, and he was left to reflect on his defeat. He spent his days in a cell, his mind replaying the events of the battle over and over again. He realized that he had underestimated the humans' capacity for strategic thinking and their ability to adapt to any situation. They had turned what he saw as weaknesses into strengths, using their knowledge of games and tactics to outmaneuver him at every turn. Ambassador Mateo Johnson visited Warlock one last time before the trial that would determine the commander's fate. "Commander Warlock," Johnson said, his voice calm but firm. "Do you now understand why we fought so fiercely? We may seem like weak traders and game players, but we are so much more." Warlock nodded slowly, his eyes filled with a newfound respect for his former adversary. "Yes, Ambassador. I understand now. Your games are indeed weapons, and you have taught me a valuable lesson. Johnson offered a faint smile. It is a lesson we hope others will learn as well. We do not seek conflict, but we will defend ourselves with every means at our disposal. As Johnson left, Warlock sat in his cell, contemplating the future. He knew that the human strategic prowess would serve them well in the conflicts to come. They had shown him that true strength lay not in brute force, but in the ability to think, adapt, and outsmart one's enemies. And so, Warlock's defeat became a lesson for others who sought to challenge the humans. They learned that underestimating a race that turned games into weapons was a grave mistake. The humans had proven that they were a force to be reckoned with, and their games would continue to shape the course of future battles. Years passed, and Warlock's story became a cautionary tale among the galaxy's would-be conquerors. His account of the human strategic brilliance was shared in military academies and war councils, a reminder that underestimating an opponent could lead to ruin. Warlock, once a feared commander, now lived in relative peace on the human colony. His imprisonment was not harsh, for the humans believed in rehabilitation and education. They engaged him in discussions about strategy, philosophy, and even the very games that had led to his downfall. Over time, Warlock found a strange sense of belonging among the humans. He began to appreciate their culture, their resilience, and their commitment to peace through strength. He even participated in their games, learning the intricate strategies and finding a new way to channel his once destructive instincts. Ambassador Mateo Johnson visited often, their conversations evolving from adversarial to almost friendly. "You see, Commander, our games are more than just pastimes. They are reflections of our values and our ways of thinking. They teach us patience, foresight, and the importance of every move we make." Warlock nodded, his once fiery eyes now calm and contemplative. "I see that now, Ambassador. I see the wisdom in your ways. Perhaps there is more to learn from you than I ever imagined." Johnson smiled, a genuine warmth in his expression. "And perhaps there is more to learn from you, Commander. We are all students of life, after all." In time, Warlock's perspective shifted entirely. He no longer saw the humans as weak, but as a species with a unique and powerful strength. He respected their ability to turn intellect and strategy into formidable weapons, and he admired their unwavering commitment to defending their home. Warlock's tale of transformation spread, inspiring other races to reconsider their views on the humans. The galaxy came to see them not as mere traders and game players, but as a species capable of great ingenuity and resilience. Warlock's newfound respect for the humans deepened as he became more integrated into their society. He was invited to speak at various forums and conferences, sharing his unique perspective on the human strategic capabilities and their approach to conflict resolution. His insights were highly valued, and he found himself becoming an unlikely ambassador of sorts, bridging the gap between his own people and the humans. One particular event stood out in Warlock's mind. He was asked to participate in a grand strategy tournament, a prestigious event where the best minds from across the galaxy competed in various games of skill and tactics. Initially hesitant, Warlock accepted the invitation, seeing it as an opportunity to further understand the human way of thinking. The tournament was a spectacle of intellect and strategy. Participants from different species showcased their prowess in games that required not just raw intelligence, but also creativity, adaptability, and foresight. Warlock found himself challenged in ways he had never experienced before, facing opponents who approached problems from angles he had never considered. As the tournament progressed, Warlock began to see the beauty in the humans' games. They were more than just exercises in strategy, they were reflections of life itself. Each game was a microcosm of the larger world, teaching valuable lessons about patience, perseverance, and the importance of understanding one's opponent. Warlock advanced through the tournament, surprising many with his adeptness at the games. He found himself in the final match, facing none other than Ambassador Mateo Johnson. The match was intense, a battle of wits that kept the audience on the edge of their seats. As they played, Warlock and Johnson exchanged not just moves, but also ideas and philosophies. They discussed the nature of conflict, the value of empathy, and the power of strategic thinking. By the end of the match, Warlock had a profound realization: the human strength lay not just in their ability to play games, but in their willingness to learn, to adapt, and to grow. Johnson won the match by a narrow margin, but Warlock felt no shame in his defeat. Instead, he felt a sense of fulfillment and a deep respect for his opponent. The audience applauded both competitors, recognizing the match as a testament to the power of intellect and the spirit of cooperation. After the tournament, Warlock continued to engage with the human community, contributing his knowledge and learning from them in return. He became a mentor to young strategists, sharing his experiences and helping them develop their skills. His story of transformation became a source of inspiration, showing that even the fiercest warriors could change and find new paths in life. Ambassador Johnson and Warlock developed a lasting friendship, their bond strengthened by their shared experiences and mutual respect. They worked together on various initiatives, promoting peace and understanding between their peoples. Warlock's insights into his own culture and the human strategies proved invaluable, leading to numerous breakthroughs in diplomacy and conflict resolution. Years later, as Warlock looked back on his life, he marveled at how far he had come. He had started as a conqueror, driven by a desire for power and domination, but had found a new purpose in understanding and cooperation. His journey had been one of growth and self-discovery, shaped by the very games he had once dismissed as trivial. The legend of Commander Warlock and Ambassador Mateo Johnson endured, becoming a symbol of the transformative power of strategy, intellect, and the human spirit. Their story was told and retold, inspiring generations to come. It was a reminder that true strength lay not in brute force, but in the ability to think, adapt, and learn from one another. And so, Warlock's legacy lived on, a testament to the enduring power of the mind and the unbreakable spirit of those who dared to turn games into weapons and enemies into friends.